Okay, shall we begin? Thank you, Vega, for your introduction, and welcome everybody. January 2022, I completed the 21 Church of Light courses and became a Hermetician. Course 10, Natal Astrology Part 2, Progressing the Horoscope, changed the way I now analyze charts. A new approach on progressions, providing a better understanding of the intrinsic dance of the science of the stars. With that knowledge, tonight we will build our case, then break it down to an assessment of the event, possibly with a prediction. Z.Z. Zane wrote, "The Hermetic system is a system to find and include all the actual astrological energies which have an important bearing upon human life. The chief purpose in predicting the nature and time of events by natal astrology is to ascertain the time when certain groups of stellar cells within the astral body will receive additional energy and in what volume and in what harmony or discord it will reach them." We know that candidate Trump has the signature of president. The accuracy of the birth chart is so important. Both candidate Harris and candidate Trump are AA Rodin rated charts, birth certificate or record. It has been brought to my attention that there is a 9:51 a.m. A-rated chart from his mother, family members, biographies, etc. But most importantly, though, a documented birth time takes precedent. And at the end of this presentation, the 10:54 a.m. chart will show that the ruler of his 10th house of heads of state, presidents, prime ministers, kings and queens, that house is an aspect following the Hermetic rules, whereas the 9:51 a.m. birth time has transiting Jupiter triggering the event, ruler of his 5th house. However, it is possible his 5th house energy is released instead of his 10th house. If the ruler of an event is not reinforced by a minor or released by transit, the house positions are incorrect. So here we are estimating the favorable or unfavorable harmony of each planet involved in the progressed aspects using his birth chart Astrodynes. The Church of Light's 2020 horoscope program is exclusive to the Astrodynes assessment of the horoscope, providing the power, the harmony, and the discord of the chart. Decanates are the windows to the soul. He has his sun, 22 Gemini, in the Gemini Aquarius decanate. Both Harris and Trump have the Gemini Aquarius decanate. Her ascendant is 24 Gemini. His sun is 22 Gemini. The key word for this decanant is reason, one who relies on facts and can accomplish great things through the exercise of their mind, relying upon reason to cultivate idealism. He has his moon also in the 3rd decadent, the Sagittarius Leo decadent. The key word here is illumination. One can tread the path of pleasure or climb the royal road of enlightenment and wisdom, being in a kingly section of the sign of the higher mind. Candidate Trump does have his sun in a head of state position, the 10th house. His ascendant is in the Leo Aries decanate. Key word here is ambition. drive, control, manage, administer, or govern. One can either rise in life regardless of obstacles, they can strive to increase their power and authority, or use their gift to exercise their power for the welfare of others. With regards to his astrodynes, his sun is his most powerful planet. With 98.18 astrodynes, and his moon is a close second with 94.58. The 10th house has 252.9 astrodynes, very powerful, and his 12th house is second in power with 117.28. Leo is his most power at 201.55, but mildly discordant. And Gemini follows with 189.85 harmonious astrodynes. Mercury is his worst planet, discordant, with minus 12.46 discordines, and the moon at 7.86, with a close second to the MC, 709, mildly discordant. Virgo is his weakest sign with minus 6.23, weak in power. So this gives you a good idea of the personality traits of candidate Trump. I also want to point out, I'm just going to, because it is a large one chart. The aspects to his midheaven, which rules the House of Presidents, 24 Taurus. And here you have Uranus at 17 and the sun at 22, making a semi-sextile to his midheaven. You've got Mercury doing a semi-square to his midheaven. You've got Saturn and Venus sextiling his midheaven.
Interesting.
Mars on his ascendant is squaring his midheaven. You've got Jupiter making a inconjunct along with his moon to his midheaven. The ruler of his ascendant, the sun, is posited in the 10th house, and natal Jupiter is making a trine to Uranus exact and to the sun. So with all this going on, this is his signature of presidency. Okay. The most important thing about inner plane weather is mapped by the major progressed aspects. For a major event to happen, there must be a major progressed planet, ascendant, midheaven, an aspect to a natal planet or point within 1 degree of the effective orb, also referred to as 1 degree of perfect. The major progressed aspect must be heavier than the moon due to the fast motion of the moon. So I created a aspect calculation sheet so that it's easier to see where there is a major to a natal, and everything that has been circled is in 1 degree perfect orb. And always remember to look for your semi-squares and your sesca squares, because here we have major Saturn semi-square, major Saturn semi-square, natal Uranus, and semi-square Mars. to natal ascendant. So with this information, I can easily take the bi-wheel, the majors on the outer wheel, the natal on the inner wheel, and find these connections all within 1 degree of perfect. I've color coded it for you so that you can see it visually. Does anyone at this time have any questions? No, pretty straightforward. Okay. So rule 1 has been met. You must have a major progressed planet making contact with a natal planet within 1 degree effective orb. The next step, and I'm going to enlarge this chart for you. The next step is to look at the minors. The astrologer who neglects minors is not getting a precise judgment of detail, will not have that precision in forecasting. Minors are considered reinforcements. They have only 27.3% of power. They act as reinforcers and have no influence on the harmony or discord of the major progressed to natal aspect. A minor progressed planet, ascendant, or midheaven must reinforce one of the terminals that we located in the previous chart of that original major terminal for a major event or disease to happen. Minors are of value only when made to major or natal terminals. Their power influences the thoughts, behavior, and events. Minor progressed aspects have no influence on the harmony or discord of the major progressed aspect to the natal. So again, I get my aspect calculation sheet out and I add the minor progressed planets on the 3rd line. And you will see here that I have taken 10 degrees Pluto and 10 degrees Uranus, Mercury, and put it over here because I found that just helps me visually see the connections. And so all these, again, color-coded tells me that I have minor progressions meeting rule 3 to a major or natal planet. And it can get confusing when you're using sesquisquares and semisquares. But in this case, there's my minor progressed Venus at 18. And so it is supporting Uranus and Saturn. It is supporting Uranus. I apologize. It is within 1 degree of orb of a natal planet. So that meets the rule. And my major to my natal meets the rule. So all these color-coded aspects meet the rule. This is highly unusual, by the way. Just like Vice President Harris's progressions, there seems to be an awful lot of activity going on between these 2 candidates. Okay, so with this information, I place it on the 3rd wheel chart. We've got the minors on the outer wheel, the majors on the middle wheel, and natal on the inner wheel, the middle wheel, the inner wheel. And again, I've color-coded it for easy visuals. Let me increase the chart. These are the original terminals down below. And these are showing the minors making connection to one of these terminals, and the majors or the natal. Zizi Zane says, it is not difficult to indicate the time of information of temporary stellar aerials across the astral body about when to what departments of life will happen. But it is far more difficult to determine the importance, how fortunate or unfortunate it will be, or the specific event. We have established rule 2. Minors are reinforcing a major or natal original terminal. It's important to keep track of minor progressed position so you can know in advance whenever it forms to a terminal for a major event to happen or a disease to develop. So last week I had quite a few technical problems, new computer, etc. And so I looked at my progressions for last Monday, and I had minor progressed Mercury squared my natal Mercury within 1 degree of perfect, with transiting Mars conjunct my natal Mercury, and minor progressed Saturn conjunct natal Mars. All this within 1 degree of perfect. A lot of brain and communication interference. No major was involved, just a minor detail or few getting my wires crossed last week. Okay. So here we have the 4-wheel chart.
Excuse me, Lori.
Yes.
A question here. Did you say minor Venus is at 18 degrees Aries?
Minor at 18 degrees Aries. Are we going back to my calculation sheet, I believe? Just a minute.
It's there on the chart.
Here.
Hmm.
Wait, one more.
Excuse me.
Minor.
So I could have, yes, I could have, I'm a little lost. These are the transits. This one right here. Next one. So Venus, minor progressed Venus is 18 degrees. I wouldn't have said Aries. It is minor progressed Venus is 18 degrees Aries 24. That's correct. I don't understand the question. Okay, so what's happening in this chart is you've got minor progressed Venus at 18 degrees Aries. And a minor has to reinforce Uranus, a major or minor planet, ascendant, midheaven. So minor progressed Venus, if I look, it's a semi-square. It's 45 degrees from major progressed Saturn. Okay, with me? So Venus is at 18, 18 and 50 is 23. Now this is where I get muddled because this is so mathematical. But I know my chart is right. So we've got major progressed Saturn at 3 degrees. I'll work this out for you. Major progressed Saturn at 3 degrees. Where are you? It's in the 11th house. Let's go to the chart. So major progressed, this is much easier. Major progressed Saturn, right here, is in the 12th house, 3 degrees Leo. If you add 15 degrees to that, you get 18 degrees. I've worked out that minor progressed Venus at 18 degrees is Aries to Leo. So that is an error. Who brought that up? Thank you. Because it's not it is not a 45-degree angle. It's just wait. It's I'm showing Saturn to Uranus, major Saturn to Uranus. So there's major Saturn to Uranus. There's the 45 degrees right there. Okay, the 17. So 3 degrees, Leo, you add 15, that's 3 degrees. Cancer, less 15 to make it 45 is 17.
Lori,
Yeah.
she's saying, I show minor Venus at 15 degrees Aries for today. So I don't think she
Oh.
realizes this chart is for November.
The chart is for November the 5th. Yes, I'm sorry, people. It's throwing me off, but there is the connection between Venus, Uranus, and Saturn here. But let's just back up a bit and say this is for the election night, November 5th. I randomly picked 9:30 p.m. In Washington, D.C. Okay, shall I continue?
Yes.
I think so. So here is the, where did I leave off? I left off here, the transits. This is very difficult to see on the eye. Transits show the pathway for a major event. A transit to a major and or a natal terminal must be reinforced by a minor progression planet or point. So,
Can you make it a little larger for us, Lori?
I will when I get back to it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Actually, that's okay, Vega, no problem. Let me just go back. So this is difficult to see. I get it because it's 4 charts. So I'm going to remove, when we look at the transits, I'm going to remove the minor wheel and you'll see it much better because they're insignificant. Their only purpose is to reinforce. So I get out my aspect calculation sheet. And I'm now added the transits. And now I'm looking to see if there is a transit that is 1 degree of perfect between the major or the natal, and that there is a minor reinforcing it. And there's 2 configurations in candidate Trump's chart that meet the 3rd rule. We've got transiting Uranus, the minor progressed Uranus and Mercury make a semi-square to Uranus, and we have the majors to the natal. So this meets the 3rd rule as well. By using the aspect calculation sheet, I can quickly see the configurations that support rule 3. Minor progressed Uranus, I've gone over that. This is the Hermetic way of prediction. Because minors are considered insignificant, their purpose being to fortify the majors and the natals, it's easier on the eyes to use a 3-wheel chart. Here we go.
Can
Was
I
there-
ask a question?
Yes.
I see looks like a very important progression is the progressed midheaven conjunct Pluto in the 12th, which midheaven, presidency, Pluto, Plutonian kinds of things, 12th house. And I don't see you commenting on that.
Right.
Maybe it doesn't have a reinforcement. Is that
That's correct, Paul.
okay? Thank you.
That's correct. There was at the beginning, when we looked at the majors to the natals, that was recognized as being within 1 degree of perfect. So you're absolutely correct. But there isn't a minor.
Great.
I'll look at my sheet and the minors. I'm going to the 9s and the 10s. And it's, well, actually what it's doing is it's lacking a transit. So it's not part of the November 5th vibrational energy.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
I've decluttered the transit wheel, the 4 wheels, to a 3-wheel chart. Transit astrology alone should be considered only in starting new adventures or doing something important at that time. Transits alone influence thought cell activity, but they do not influence a major event without that minor progressed and major progressions. So this chart has been, I just want to make sure I didn't skip it. No. Okay. So I've gone back to the 4-wheel chart because I want to demonstrate all the astral activity in candidate Trump's chart, starting with transiting Uranus. I'm going to enlarge the chart. That should help a bit. So there's transiting Uranus, 25 degrees Taurus, conjunct his MC. And it is making an exact 45-degree aspect to minor Uranus and minor Mercury. There's my minors in this configuration, but they're insignificant. Minors are considered reinforcements. We have transiting Uranus is squaring major progressed Mercury. Sextiles natal Venus, and in conjuncts major Jupiter. Minor progressed Uranus semi-squares major Mercury. There's my minor supporting a major or natal, and minor progressed Mercury sesquisquares major Mercury. Mercury rules his 11th and 2nd house. Uranus rules his 6th house of service.
Lori,
Yes.
there's a comment from Audria. Lori, for clarity, the MC9 Leo conjunct the natal Pluto 1 Leo does not count because there's no minor aspect to this progressed MC conjunct natal Pluto. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay. Was it okay? That's really hard to follow right from the beginning. Is it a question or is it?
I'm not sure. It's got a question mark at the end. Lori, for clarity, the progressed MC9 Leo conjunct the natal Pluto 1
Yes.
degree Leo does not count because there is no minor aspect to this progressed MC conjunct natal Pluto. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, let me comment. There is a minor
That's right.
aspect. The minor Mercury.
Hold
The
on.
minor Mercury and the minor Uranus. What isn't happening is there's no transit.
No transit. Yeah,
Transit
got it.
at 10
Thank you.
degrees. There's no transit. But yes, the minor does set that off. But for November 5th, it's not in effect. The MC to the Pluto in Hermetic astrology says you must have a transit to release all that energy. So this is why we've gone through. So if I go back to my aspect calculation sheet right here, there's no transit. See here, no transit from 8, 9, 10, 11. So it doesn't meet the 3rd rule. A transit must release a major or a natal. I hope that satisfies your question, Audria.
She says, correction, that is natal Pluto 10 Leo, not 1 Leo. My sound does not seem to be working as I try to comment verbally and no one heard me.
Right, right. I got what she was saying about the major MC and the natal Pluto. It has the progressed planet supporting it. It does not have a transiting planet to release it. So in this configuration with transiting Uranus, which we found with the aspect calculation sheet, that Uranus, transiting ascendant, and Venus make the four-wheel connection. And this chart shows you the transiting ascendant 23 Sag and conjunct transiting Venus, the ruler of his 10th house, is also at 23 Sag. Transiting ascendant sextiles major Venus. It's in conjunct natal Saturn and opposite natal Sun. Transiting Venus sextiles major Venus in conjunct Saturn opposite Sun, and it also in conjuncts the natal MC. With minor progress, there's my minor. I've got my transits, I've got my majors and my natal, and here's my minor ascendant at 23 degrees, reinforcing natal Sun, natal Saturn, major Venus, and natal MC. So also in this configuration, the three rules have been met. So I could say that candidate Trump has a major event happening on November 5th.
So there's a question, when you say major, does that mean natal? And you're talking about progress chart, right?
Okay,
progress.
so a major event is in context to the conversation of having a major event. But when I say major Venus, I mean major progressed Venus. When I put a planet after the word major, I mean a planet, an ascendant, or the midheaven.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Here's putting it all together. The three transit points, the triggers, the release, Uranus, ascendant, and Venus, making the connections to the majors and the natals. It's all color-coded for you. And also the minor progression that must be there to reinforce all this energy. And so there you have it. We had Vice President Harris's chart on Monday night, and I'm going to bring them up to refresh our memories. All this electromagnetic vibrations are happening on November 5th. I randomly picked 9:30. I felt that the voting process was well on the way, and it's a major event for candidate Trump.
I'm sorry.
And okay. So let's get rid of all the clutter again. I've removed the atmospheric transmissions, the static, to concentrate on the planet that rules the event. This is the whole key. What rules the event? Venus rules his 10th house, the house of presidents, heads of states, kings and queens. His sextile from transiting Venus, right down here, we have the sextile to major progressed Venus, and both these planets rule his 10th house. Is to me his most favorable aspect because it's related to the event. Zane considers conjuncts, parallels, and inconjuncts as favorable. Therefore, his transiting Venus in conjunct to his natal MC is also favorable, along with Saturn in conjunct to Saturn. We do not consider minor aspects. So that's taking all that information and seeing what's going on November the 5th and narrowing it down to the ruler of the 10th house.